What's good, Internet? My name is attackslug, and welcome to a review of Chromagun VR, launching exclusively on the PlayStation VR February 19th for a price of $19.99. As always, full disclosure, this copy of the game provided by the publisher. Chromagun, for those not familiar, is a puzzle game based around mixing paint colors that released on PC back in 2016 and was later ported to home consoles. In fact, you'll find a video on this very channel covering the core mechanics of how the game operates and my opinions on that version. If you are familiar with games like Portal or Mag Runner, you know exactly what this is. So right at the top, I will tell you that if you've already played through Chromagun, you won't find anything new here. A handful of these puzzles have been made slightly easier to account for the VR limitations, but it's 90% the same game, except now, it's in VR. And while being able to hold the Chromagun is a fun novelty, unlike the PC version, there is currently no speedrun mode. So if you already know all the solutions, you won't find much value there. If you are a new player, Chromagun is a competent first-person puzzle game that never gets too hard and does not outstay its welcome. They take the simple concept of mixing 3 core colors and craft enough puzzles to last you a good 6 to 8 hours. Though that number may wildly vary per player, as it would depend upon your mental prowess. The difficulty curve is fairly smooth, constantly building on what you've learned and applying it in new ways. Just when you think you've seen everything, they find yet another twist to challenge you even further. And for the most part, these gimmicks work well, with the exception of the color balance found later in the game that I could never get to work consistently. Because this is the same game overall, my core issues from the original release remain. That being the fact that when you mess up, and you will, you must start the entire stage over. Because of the length and complexity of some of the stages, the fact you don't have an option to wipe the paint clean can get a tad bit frustrating. This is more of an issue later on in the game when timing is key, but it's a minor annoyance and nothing game-breaking. Control-wise, you can use either a DualShock 4 or the PSVR aim controller, which unfortunately I do not own. The DualShock does a decent enough job even if the light-based tracking does tend to drift a little bit. Thankfully, it's an easy reset and never detracted from the overall experience. Getting into the VR headset components specifically, there are only a handful of comfort options here, with segmented turning being the default and smooth turning being optional. Personally, smooth turning makes me nauseous, but I know some folks enjoy it, so it's good to have a choice here. Otherwise, you've also got the option to change locomotion between joystick direction and head orientation. While this is somewhat limited compared to the variety of options in other VR games, it gets the job done. There is also an optional colorblind mode that has you combining symbols instead of colors. If you are worried about not being able to play, they have you covered. Because you are on a flat plane and not making any outrageous movements during the course of the game, it's one of the most comfortable experiences I've had in VR. I was able to capture this footage in a handful of sessions without any kind of discomfort. The only VR related complaint I can levy here is the movement speed, as when you are trudging down some of these long hallways, it would be nice to be able to pick up the pace. Having played the PC version, I found myself growing impatient when I knew exactly what I had to do, but had to wait to do it. In terms of trophies, there is a platinum for players interested in those, and I got most of them fairly easily during my single playthrough. If you're looking for a new VR puzzle game, and you're tired of waiting for Valve to do anything with the Portal franchise, Chromagun occupies that lane quite nicely. While the narrative structure isn't exactly original, the puzzles are satisfying to complete and the VR conversion is well done. All in all, if you are a fan of VR gaming looking for something substantial to play outside the glut of wave-based shooters, Chromagun might be worth checking out. And while fans of the original may appreciate being inside the test chambers, it does not offer much else new outside of that experience. Chromagun VR is launching February 19th exclusively on the PSVR for a price of $19.99, and attackslug gives it a 7.5 out of 10.